Welcome back to episode 25 of A Brutal Vulcan Start. In the previous episode, I ended it in a mining run, just entered the base, and if I can get over this pile of ingots, I'm going to make some lockers so I have a place to store all this ore I have sitting in my inventory. I can find some iron here. Squeeze it in there. Okay, so we got some lockers. And just for now, maybe forever, but we'll just put it here. And reasonably convenient. If I stop dropping them. Yeah, so this is at 3x. So effectively what I've been using if I'm doing outdoor mining, I go to 5x. If I'm doing repetitive things indoors, I'll kick it up to 3x. So now I left this hot in the previous episode. I sort of forgot about it when I came back in. It's, you have this time frame between episodes, and I don't always recall all the state what's going on. And so I started putting gas in. I think it was empty, but obviously it wasn't. So in the last episode, we tossed a bunch of 50 units of silver in there to heat it up, and it's still hot from that. So we can go ahead and smelt the ore we just picked up. That locker is not too convenient, way over here. Now something else pretty interesting, I have an advanced furnace that I set up and haven't really been using it. The goal was sort of I could have that set up and then tap off the hot gas I have sitting on the roof from all the earlier water generation. Possibly go ahead and close it, but it's just haven't got to it yet. And that furnace is easy enough, convenient enough to use it. Also, now that I think about it, I can't really use the other furnace right now because it's not been sealed up, so it would leak heat into the environment. The other one is isolated, so it doesn't affect the inside space. So that's the combustor. Speaking of insulating things, the combustor, last time I ran it was in a vacuum. Now the inside space has an atmosphere, and the combustor will radiate or convect massive amount of heat when running. Just making sure these pipes are empty before I pop them off. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wrap the combustor in a couple windows, put a active vent in there and a sensor in there, and then the automation logic will, before it starts the combustor, it will look at the pressure within that little frame or box containing the combustor, and if it's above zero, it'll turn on the active vent, pump out any gas in there, and then you'll be able to start the combustor after that in automation. And to avoid having to crack it open to change the chip in the combustor itself, I'm just going to drive it using a IC housing configuration. And it's just as well because it needs to control quite a few things. And so what I've done before is I have like one chip in the filtration unit, one chip in the combustor, and there's too much going on really to have them separate. So I think I'll just have a housing this time, and it'll just have direct access to the filtration device, the combustor, the mixer, the internal vent, and other components, so to be able to drive a little more smarter in the water generation part. Probably need a second chip to drive the back half. So basically one ship to drive, generating to steam, and then the second one to drive the cooling process from steam to water. Remember to take my suit off now. Swap batteries, and putting a battery charger unit in the airlocks is on my things to do list. So I'm going to, that spot right there, I'm going to put a to the right of the oven, I'm going to put a advanced packaging machine there, and then on the right of the oven I'll put a power bench with a reagent processor on top. So I'll clear a room around that, and then this unit here I'll go ahead and I'm going to put the filling of O2 on the other side. I'll just tap off that O2 tank I have collecting, and just put a pressure regulator off that, and so I have the O2 sitting there, so I don't need two O2 filtration devices. And we're cleaning up this mess here so we can get the packaging machine in here, although I don't actually use it in this episode. Sort of get it. There's a lot going on, a lot of things to keep busy, and let me sort of transition the base over. Grab my headset, so if I hit a dark area I at least have some light. What I'm doing here, there's gas in that pipe, so I want to vent that gas out, and then I'll disassemble it from reverse order and push that gas out of that pipe into the passive vent and into the atmosphere. And the passive vent itself does not contain any gas. So in this spot, I can actually fit another section of 7 widthwise trays with just enough room to squeeze in the drinking fountain on this side, which kind of works out. So I can leave the locker there. I don't have to remove the locker. I'm going to clean up the wiring here. And as you may recall, this side of the base, the immediate airlock and everything else is controlled by its own battery from behind me, so it's off the main baseline. And that's the old door which I disabled for now. Probably could just remove it at this point. I need to put these potatoes in the locker. They're all just floating around. I received a comment for episode 24 that connecting a passive drain to the liquid pipe would pull atmospheric gas into the liquid pipes. And so what's happening here is not only I'm pulling out that little bit of water vapor, but I'm also bringing the atmosphere into those set of pipes there. And that's what caused that issue. And now it doesn't seem to hurt anything. I see the feedback in the comment said they recommend connecting a passive vent to a condensation valve to get the water out of the atmosphere while moving the atmosphere. So I think this has already been recorded, so the next episode I'll go ahead and try something like that. Thanks for the comment. Now it doesn't seem to actually be hurting anything. The plants seem happy, but it's sort of annoying. So I think in a next episode I'm actually going to get that out. I think what I'm going to do is just put a big liquid tank in there, pump all the liquid out quickly, and then I can get the gas out using a purge valve or whatever the device is, go from liquid to gas. And then once I get it empty, then quickly pump the water back in and go back to pure H2O. Next episode, or maybe next 2 episodes. At some point I want to clean that out. It kind of bothers me. Alright, so making finally a little bit of progress on the water generation. Now, if you're hearing a lot of weird pipe noises, that's due to a set of the liquid pollutant pipes used in the first stage of the phase chambers that sits around like 5.5 to 5.6 megapascals, and a liquid pipe maximum pressure is 6 megapascal. And so it's so close, it just makes that extra noise, I guess. And it's really annoying. And I'm not sure how to resolve it because I'm not sure how to get that pressure down in those pipes between the chambers. And maybe if I had different temperature ranges, it would affect it. Not sure. I'm tempted just to go ahead, maybe just put a wall between all the, where I'm at and the other side, and put a vacuum on the other side. That kind of would be painful because I won't be able to really use that air lock on the other side anymore. But wish there was some way to tone down that noise. All right, so this is where it's going to be the our future O2 filler, right off that main tank, nice and simple with a pressure regulator, no chips or that crap needed. And cleaning up, I will put some more lights, a little more lights in this area, brighten it up a little bit. Now that I've lit up most of the base now, the dark sections really stand out when I'm just using the headlamp. All right, so I'm not really sure how to run the cable on all this stuff going here. I got cables above, cables down here. So I'm just, I figure I run it down the center. That keeps up. I got a lot of pipes coming in here too, so. All right, so now we can come in here to fill our O2. And since we come in here to fill our O2, just double checking. Yep, we got only O2 in there, nothing contaminated. And since I got to zip in here anyway to change O2 tanks, I'm going to slip in the waste tank dumping pump right next to it in a little bit. Oops, let's finish this, do this. We still got our Stirling engine on the other side. We'll attach that on the back side. So here, so this is this only has hot steam in it, and that goes back there, and that's for the input of the Stirling engine. This is the miscellaneous hot gas. We're going to run it up here, and we'll have a tank outside, and for now we'll just accumulate it. Kind of wonder if it's really worth all the effort to save that gas, because, you know, the atmosphere is volatile. So just pump a bunch of atmosphere into a tank, throw a bunch of silver in there, and boom, you got, you know, super hot gas. But I don't feel right dumping it. It's not that big of a deal just to save it in a small insulated tank for now. And I can always connect it to a furnace at some point and use it. All right, clear out some junk out of our inventory. This is sort of becoming the unofficial gas pile. And it's getting, don't really have anything to do for smelting, nice and warm. We probably should dump that gas out. I'm leaving it in there in case something comes up. There, we're gonna try to use some of the stuff we have over here. Keep it somewhat neat. I almost think it'd be easier to start a new base. Yeah, I've considered that too, is once I get everything sort of up and running and stable, then set up a new base, specifically with lots of windows in the I don't know, living area, should we say, so I can see out and look at the Vulcan environment. Right now, of course, I don't have any windows anywhere, so I can just kind of ruin the view per se. Okay, so I'm just ripping out stuff. I'm connecting those two because there is a passive vent outside. So if I go this way, I'll push the gas out towards that passive vent. And I'm probably a little over. I'll get this stuff out of the way. Overdoing this. All right. We get rid of that, and then we probably don't need both those, and take that one out. And those valves should not contain any gas per se. They're sort of like between networks. They don't belong to a network. They sort of define a division between pipe networks. And we see that little bit of, I'm hoping if I reduce the volume, I can get that little bit of ice to sort of melt with the, I may have to inject gas into that pipe. So if I inject atmospheric gas in it, that would probably melt it. And then once the gas is in there, melt it, and then suck all the gas out quickly. Or I can just delete the pipe. And clean up some of this stuff. Not sure what I'm gonna put over here. I'm sure there's something useful. I need a third hand here. Not sure how important that connection is, but we'll just reconnect it just in case. Just kind of looking at that. We'll drop that off, and then we can just take those pipes off and we'll deal with that later. Just looking for anything, what piles of useful stuff here. All right, so go ahead and finish making these things. Okay, a mixer. Yeah, I didn't. It's kind of not as, not as compact and as I would like. But at this point, I say, well, let's just do the best we can and just get it in there, and we can always refactor at some point. All right, so that's 5. We can put 2 more, and that's so we can get another grow light in there and fit that area. And in here, now we put that in, and we put a pipe there. And then we put a pipe like this. So we'll put the fountain on one, and then we'll put the drain on the other, and hope at some point we'll drain all that water vapor out of the atmosphere. There's a lot of atmosphere and there's one little drain, but a little bit in there doesn't seem to hurt anything, and we'll just kind of slowly take care of it. Yeah, not a fan of these where the power connector is for this, but I think it's designed to be embedded in the wall, and I'm just not doing. If you had a frame there, I could embed it in the frame, and that would insulate. That should all insulate it. But I don't have that frame there, so with the back it went off. And get rid of these pipes, because we pumped all that out before, so there's nothing in that pipe. And we don't need that, because we had that because the hydroponic trays were getting in the way, but they're been moved. And pull this pump out. And get rid of this stuff. Yeah, the wire's going, it loops around, so I don't think I need to go have that keep going. Yay, finally. And we're going to toss these. Try and get these down to 0, and then I'll just toss them in the furnace. Okay, so we got that processor. We need to make our packaging machine. Constant, add some up here. Yeah, at some point I'm going to run out of alloys. Going to have to make some more alloys. And we'll just stick this over here. So I looked around trying to find a reagent product. There's no way that I'm aware of to automate this device or what it does. For example, there's no way to make flour using automation. You know, have a shoot of wheat coming in and flour coming out. I think that's a deficiency in the game, and because I really love to fully automate the full food production, and just sort of have, you know, all that comes in, and everything that does have it, you can automate it, so you have various components come in, you process it, they come back out, and then they go into wherever they want to go to, and food comes pouring out, and you have cans of. You can have mountains of, you know, cans of food being poured out of the base. And just dig a big pit in your base outside and just fill it with cans of food. But you can't really, because I think all the canned goods, they require some soy oil. And that's a manual operation currently, as far as I know. I guess you could trade for it if you can automate that trading scenario. But I don't think you can do that either. All right, so we got our advanced packaging machine. We need to prep a bunch of steel cans. And this fits in here. We gotta weld that. And I just need a screwdriver after this, and voila. Yeah, I could probably spend a whole episode just mucking around in the hydroponic room. I need to go in there and, like, you know, do some serious gardening. The other thing going on with the hydroponic is just way too dense. I have it packed in there and it's hard getting in there. So I think I'm going to pull out a row of trays. I'm going to have the two back hydroponic trays having ferns, and then have an empty row, and then have another row of just, you know, food item type plants. And or maybe I guess I can squeeze in 2 rows. At least one. I don't need that much food. I mean, it's just I'm probably going too crazy on the food. So I think if I just have you know, 7 of each kind of food types, that would be more sufficient. And then and that would get rid of quite a few of the hydroponic trays and not make it so dense. Because the last 2 rows effectively would be the rows that the ferns, what you don't muck with once they're grown. So I decided, let's do some trading. Let's check this out while we're here. And I was going to speed this up, but this was actually an easy trade, or easy lock-in. So we'll bring that down. Track down active vent. So this is part of the automatic evacuation of the combustor area. I could do it do it manual and just like push the button, put the window up, and then yank the wire at some time frame in the future. Figure it'd be empty by then. But I decided to go ahead and go fancy and just put a gas sensor inside. I can fit a gas sensor in there. And then when the chip kicks in, the chip startup procedure will check the pressure in there. If it's not 0, it'll turn the active vent on until it hits 0, and then it'll continue with initialization and all that. So if for some reason I need to open it up, which I shouldn't need to, but if I do, then I can just pop the chip while I'm opening it up, because I don't want it running, and then go ahead and close it up, and then when I put the chip back in, it'll auto purge itself. Little fancy stuff there. So you saw I just put in putting in the stuff for dumping a waste tank. I decided to go ahead and just use a normal, since this is taking a tank and dumping it into the atmosphere. There's no reason to use an insulated tank. I tend to get crazy with the insulated pipes, so I'm going to try to use non-insulated components more often, especially when it's appropriate for that use. Now the O2 tank above, that's insulated because the O2 temperature of the tank and the atmosphere could be different, and typically they are different. And so, for example, I may want to at some point bring that O2 down, say 20 Celsius, but the room itself will be higher because of the plant. So that could be, that would be justified using insulated pipes. Another pile of mess. I actually got extra spot in my tool belt that I could, I'm going to squeeze this in here, so I'm going to weld that up with some steel sheets. Let's put another wall up. Now this room I'm going to have to evacuate before those doors open up, or that would be some nice burning going on there. So once I get done, I'll leave that one wall open for a while. Once it's pretty much set up the way I want to go, I think one of the last steps is I'll need to go ahead and wire up the doors. And I think for this room, I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm just going to have it, if it's night, open the doors. If the temperature's below, 127 below, open the doors. If it's above, close the doors. I'm not going to do the really fancy stuff, I don't think, initially. I think I'm going to put a lot of cooling in there, so I think it's going to be a major overkill. And plus, I'll have the Stirling engine in there, and it needs some cooling, and so I got to deal with it and the pipes and everything else. And I said, well, I think I'll just keep it simple for now, and maybe add gravy later on, which means never. Okay, checking the temperature outside. Put on my suit real quick. Turn off my headlamp. Yeah, I need to put in some Omni transmitter and get some wireless batteries going too. Also on the long list of. Initially, I didn't do that because the power situation was kind of iffy. Well, we can buy some more oxide. And what can we sell? And mining drill and this hard stuff to make. I guess if I had a whole bunch of like canned pumpkins, and I go ahead and do that. All right, so I buy some oxide, and I attempted to make a mine drill, but it's like 50. Yeah. And I can put a battery in it, and not worth the time. I mean, it was like a number of them, not just one, but it's like a bunch of them. Then I can make a whole bunch of them. But and now we turn the computer off. Everything else shuts down. Turn off the chip. Save another 50 watts. And we got stuff all over the place here. We can reuse that. There's another one. I think I took the other one. I think the other one went in the furnace. I still have my old gas welder there. And turn the sensor up. That sensor will go inside the little buster box. And for that, we'll need some frames. And it's still pretty hot. Okay, so let's squeeze the sensor right in here. Luckily it fits. Trying to think anywhere else, but no, it fits right there, so it goes there. And we'll wire this up here. Now we're not isolating all this stuff in its own transformer. I'm not sure where to do that at, but so we'll just have to have really good names and everything, which we're going to do. We're going to name everything. So the stuff in the box is like H2O combustor, vent. Took the word active off because you really can't name a passive vent. So the only kind of vent you have is, well, you can have a large vent, medium vent, or active vent. So in this case, it's a vent, and we'll call this the H2O combustor, gas sensor, and this is our, nope, not that. This is our H2O combustor gas mixer. Guess we could shorten that just to mixer. This is H2O filtration. And this will be our H2O Stirling engine. so basically, then when this hot steam comes off, we'll run it through the Stirling engine first, and after that, we'll bring it to radiators to cool it down further. We'll see how that works out. I may not do it optimum design. Well, we'll just get something out of the gas anyway. It's more for making things a little more interesting here. Now, speaking of Stirling engines, there's still the obvious solution of during once the temperature outside hits like 900 Kelvin, use a large power vent, suck all that air into a tank, and it only needs to be a small tank, and then at night turn this on and that hot gas goes back in here, and the gas coming out just vent, and then and the night air itself will keep it cool. So basically you can stick it outside, and it just during the day the power vent kicks in, pumps it up. At night it kicks on and runs as long as it can, and just cycle that. I need to probably do a separate video of that, and what I want to do is I want to have the power system set up so you kind of measure and make sure you're actually getting back more energy than you're using, because the power vent fan, the large fan, will consume quite a bit of power, but it doesn't run that long. So, and then sort of kind of figure out how much power it generates per day-night cycle. I'm sure someone else has already done that video somewhere. When new features come out, you get a whole slew of videos on it, and then you search like Stirling engine, you get all these hits. It's kind of hard to get to them all, and for the particular planet you're worried about, and was there other updates that could affect it that came out. And speaking of paints, so I'm gonna be adding a lot of pipes, and I'm not gonna be painting them because I don't want to add pollutants inside the room. And now the tank I have now is the tank I'll use for the Stirling engine, so I need to put some volatiles in there. So we're going to take that out and paint it. Yeah, I know there's ways you can paint pipes ahead of time and then just insert them colored type thing and all that too. So here's my yellow. I think for that solution I need to put a pollution filtration device in, and then I can go ahead and paint away and maybe stick in this corner here so I have a lot of room. And I'll put that in somewhere and start filtering the air and dumping the pollutants, and then I go ahead and just paint, and as long as I keep it down low enough that it doesn't bother the plants, then it should be fine. I don't think the paint adds that much. So this is going to be what I need to do. It's like a one-off thing. I guess if I add more Stirling engines, I use it more often. So I need to put, the gas is kind of hot, and from what I read, I need about like between 70 and 80 moles. That works out if I put in 4 megapascals of hot gas in there. That works out about right, and then just let it cool. Now pop it out and let it cool in the room. And then I'll use that tank for the Stirling engine. And then I'll keep this set up, so if I need any more in the future, I'll just use the same thing. And you see I'm not painting anything. I could have like popped the red one off, dragged it over, and made the other ones red, and blah blah blah. Too lazy. All right, so we put that in there, and we're gonna name thing. Oh, we're gonna set this up. So we want 4,000. And kind of run down the center for lack of any other way. Connect up with these wires. Turn it on, and that magic happens. And since we're going to use an external chip to drive this, we don't have to worry about anything. We'll take care of it. We'll vent it out later on, and then of course we'll be able to control the combustor directly externally, so we don't need access back in here. I actually do have to pop, I had to put an extra tank in there. I forgot to put the tank in there, so I will pop a window off in a little bit and put it back on. But after I do that, then I'm done. Okay, so we're just, it's kind of weird. It's kind of does that weird spinning thing. It's not, smart tanks are not insulated, so I'm putting some place that do that weird thing. All right, we're gonna let it cool down just in the room. No big, well, it's not a problem. It's cooling down. And the pressure is dropping, which is fine, but the moles is what we want, about between 70 and 80, based on the wiki that I read, so. And at this point, you say you're hearing all these weird noises. When I do voiceover, I actually have the FX turned off, so it doesn't come out of speakers and back into the mic, and then you have this weird echo going on. Go ahead and now this oxide, the pressure of the environment is only 53. I can get it boosted up a little bit more. So we'll figure we'd dump a bunch of oxide in here. And not only does this add oxygen, as I add all this oxide, it adds, you know, both oxygen and nitrogen, but that drops the percentage of CO2. So then the CO2 injection system kicks in and go, okay, we need more CO2. So that will also increase the pressure a little bit on top of that. All right, so now I have to wire up the mixer, and everything is like too far away. You know, all sort of grown a little bit organically. Didn't really have a future plan. I didn't really have a master plan for the base construction here. So things kind of grew here and there. And this is where, like, having one of those, you know, in my previous video, I have a trench design where you have, have the middle section empty, you know, goes down, and you can run the pipes down in there a little bit. So. That only works so much, and at some point the pipes are all kind of crossing each other, and then you only put so much in there. But kind of looking, I gotta run that power from there up to the roof, so I can tap into the main power grid up there. And I decided I don't have enough heavy cables. So let's print some more of that up. So this is the O2 pipe. So we have an O2 pipe directly off the O2 tank, and we have off the volatile tank. Now, the O2 tank is running around 20-ish, and the volatile's at 127. And so you can't, when you mix, the mixer is based on volume, not moles. So if the temperatures are unequal, and you think you're getting a certain percentage, you're not. There are formulas on the wiki that you compute exactly the ratio based on the temperatures, but I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, like, set it to 20. I'm just going to run it volatile rich, because wasting a little bit of volatiles is not going to hurt anything, because volatile is effectively free, especially night volatiles without cooling. So since that's basically free, I'm just going to run it volatile rich and not worry about the precise numbers. Quickly hydrate here. A little easier to find potato up on the shelf, and I need to cook up that potato before it goes bad, or should I say pumpkin. Okay, well, that's printing. Let's go. Let's see if we get lucky again. Okay, we got. What I tend to do is I tend to put this like on default. So I put the vertical on 45 and the horizontal like 180, and sort of have my neutral starting spot. And then, okay, so this mess is getting. So they run to the mixer. We still need to put a chip. The chip will run all that stuff, so I got around that coating. We won't get to that part in this. Throw some more oxide in here. And the O2 system will pull out O2 if it goes over 70 kPa. It will start sucking out O2 out of the room. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go ahead and say, well, let's try this direction. So I throw it at 90, kind of hear the motor running. There you go, that's not too bad, a little faster. If that was really, really slow, I'd go back the other way and figure I'm like way off, so. This is when I realized I had one last thing to do inside here. What I want to do is I want to add some volume between these tanks, between the combustor and the filtration and the Stirling engine. Now the chip will monitor the pipe pressures and will. So even if I had a simple pipe there, it would shut down if the pressure is exceeded. But I decided to give it a little extra tank just because I wanted to. All right, so we're sort of here. We look at the number, memorize the number, and then we'll go this way, and then we'll see if that helped. And we need some of those. This is going pretty fast. And then we'll drop it in. I think they're all insulated since we got really hot gas in these things. Looks like we're going in the right direction. Yep, speeding up. And we'll play with this. Figure we go that. Oh, that looks good enough. Yep, oh, cool. Not too bad. Man, I gotta lock in that big aircraft. No place to land it, but put that back in. I decided to bump this up. I think the other one was 9,000. So I decided to go ahead and bump this up too. Or originally it was 9,000. Not sure why I keep moving it around. Yep, there's my other advanced furnace. Gotta do something with that. Let's go out and see what this trader has. Has water. Except I've been pissing off all my money, so what can I sell? Okay, so it wants empty canisters, not very, but it wants a lot of volatiles. And all right, so what I decided to do at this point, I go, well, you know, let's get that AC system. My AC system's been slacking a lot. It's not. I got like one little AC on it, and so it's. Let's see how well this system works. So I decided, let's go ahead and sell this guy some volatiles, and then you got to reattach that pump, and then. Which means now, and I have a tank out there, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a crap load more pipes, another AC unit, and start accumulating, take the volatiles out of the tank that I've already, you know, extract at night, and then, where's that liquid pump, turbo pump, and then cool it down and sell it. I believe a number of the traders all want, like, you know, hot volatile gas and, well, some want fuel, which I guess is a mixture of oxygen and volatiles. But so I got to say the volatiles are free, and I'm just going to leave this trader here. So the trader will stay here for a while. And what the goal is, I'll say I'm just going to take a bunch of volatiles, cool it down, sell it to the trader. And we'll also go ahead and sell a bunch of empty canisters too. And then use all that income to buy the water up. And then with that batch of water, yeah, we are sitting in a really good place. And then I can go ahead and spend some time, expand out the hydroponics a little bit. Make sure to get in the right direction here. So we're all set up to, we buy water, we move it into the tank. Got power, and that all works, and that all works. Let's buy some water. Now you notice I can't do math. It should be pretty simple. You take 18, round it up to 20, and then you just figure out how much you can buy based on that. Okay, between 10 to 30. We can do that. And it takes a while to get all this water out of here. Turn it on. We have to connect that pipe. So we got that big tank, the insulated tank sitting there. We have the pipe running all the way there. And you go, well, we can use this. We can just go ahead and tank is empty. We sucked all that out. So I can just connect that pipe there, and on the other side tap into that pipe, and then shoot volatiles in here, and then cool it down using my. What I'll do is I'll put an AC system on it, and then the waste tank will go into the coolant line, and we got to invert this thing. This is for providing gas. We'll just switch it around to accepting gas. So I guess you have multiple ones. Make this a lot bigger and have lots of gas type connections for inputs, outputs, whatnot. Don't have any pipes on me. Okay, so it's all empty. Now the split between the pipe and the tank there. And while we're effing around getting cooled volatiles, we can turn all that off. I'll just wait there. So we'll do this in reverse order. For any atmospheric gas sitting in those pipes will get pushed out the vent. Pop that off. We no longer need that. We got another one over here. Got turbo pumps everywhere. Okay, so now we're gonna get really messy here. We're gonna run this pipe all the way across the base. And nothing's painted and it won't fit there, so we're gonna have to go make a little turn here. And we got a pile of canisters. Yeah, they're a bit unwieldy. I thought about putting a printer right across from the vending machine and you could print directly into it. And that would solve the problem. Okay, so now we need a bunch of pipes. Fortunately, this works when it's turned off. It's probably a bug. Now I'm wasting my time. Basically, I didn't want to count up how many canisters I need. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sell everything I have and see what the remaining count is. I do all this to prevent me and myself from having to add. Okay, on. You know, I really should put a remote on-off button outside. That would be nice. And then I can flip the whole thing on if I forget. Okay, so we still have 3 more. Getting a little toasty outside. Turn it back off. Yeah, I consider switching back to my heavy suit because you know, the suit's basically off all the time, so hygiene won't be an issue. But just haven't got to it, or not sure if they actually would help all that much at this point. Because I don't really, I don't, for the most part, I don't mind during the day, so it's like, well, you know. Yep, running all the way down here. Now I'm like, okay, where am I going to tap off this, and where am I going to put an AC system at, and do I really want to do all this work to sell some volatiles? But believe it or not, I've never sold volatiles to a trader, so let's sell them. Let's see, can I squeeze it in here? And no, the pipe's all in the way now. We'll have to stick it over here somewhere. I'll put it in this frame right here. I'm thinking about grabbing those. I have some extra lights I should grab and install over there. Looking at the pipes and how's everything routed, and because I got to connect the that gray coolant line needs it connected to the coolant line on the AC system, and then the input and output I'll just loop, and that connects to the and then I want the ability to, I need to isolate. I don't want to cool all the volatiles. I just want to move volatiles into this second, so I need a pump. So this will be the waste line. So let's run this one, the coolant line, should we say. Grab those lights and more pipes. Probably should start printing out some more. I wish it would make a high-end, super high-end. It'd be very expensive to make, but a high-end, you know, a volatile-free painting tool. That would be nice. I think what I'm going to do here is I'll take the input, we'll just loop it around to the output. Yep, I gotta make it that high. And we'll loop it around here. We need the pipes to finish construction of the AC system. And we'll probably run this at 25 since the range is between 10 to 30. We'll shoot for 25. Okay, so effectively we have the volatile line to the right, all nice and pretty red for the most part, and that has the bulk volatiles that we accumulate. Now it does have a 10 megapascal limit, and then we have this other line, which will be the line that we are going to sell. That's going to be cooled. So this other connection will be. So now I need to get, so this is the, I'm getting these connected up. So this goes outside right here. Yeah. And that connects to this cooling loop. Okay, so now we have two sort of networks. We have the one goes outside and the one inside. So now we're going to connect those two with a pump between the two of them. And then I can pump a certain amount of gas, and so I'm not trying to. What I'm going to do is effectively I'll turn the volume pump on, count like 10, turn it off, cool that gas down, sell it, and then, you know, repeat it. So I'm not like taking forever or making too much. And so we'll just do that and kind of work our way through the gas until we, and I want to sell as much as it will buy. So I want to exhaust that. And that should be more enough credits to buy up all the water it has. And then we're building those 3 extra canisters we needed. And of course, more pipe. Kind of checking everything, make sure it seems all. And a storm just started. I always got the window to check. Yep, there's a storm. Besides the audio signal, the little rocks flying through the building, and I can check the temperature. I also have to look outside to see the storm. I almost went out there just to hang out in the storm a little bit. Okay, so yeah, I keep forgetting to use these bottles up so I can empty them out and finally get rid of them. Yeah, might as well cook those up. Those French fries look pretty good. And we're just gonna make 50 of them. That's a lot of steel cans, but then we should be done with making steel cans for a while. Because when you eat the food, you get the can back. So I think 50 cans is gonna be an overkill. Maybe I can sell some of that stuff. All right, so now we can go ahead and do this part. Now I gotta run this pipe across the other pipe. So fortunately, we're all short, so we can fit under this pipe, no problem. And just double checking. Yep. Okay, so we're going to tap off of this pipe here. There. All right, so we have a loop. We're going to get power. I think where I'm going to connect this up to. And this looks useful. We'll tap it off there, and then we'll connect these around like this, and not do anything too useful because it has no nothing to cool. crank this up to 25. No reason to get silly about the temperature. Okay, so now one thing I don't have yet, I need to put a chip in the AC system because it will spike the coolant line way up there. So I'm going to put a control chip in the AC unit that if the coolant line goes above 40, it shuts down. That's 40 is definitely a lot too low. I'm going to crank that up to like 60 in the next episode. That's probably a little too conservative because you want the temperature to go up to a certain amount because I think that improves efficiency of the cooling system. And so now, but the advantage of that, the coolant line will never get, go way up there because other things depend on it. For example, I inject coolant line gas into the atmosphere when I need more CO2. So, 40 or 50, even 60, because I don't put that much, is not a big deal, but it gets too high. Right, so now this measurement of moles is not accurate because it's a tank sitting out there. So some of the moles are sitting in that tank. And I forgot about that when I was sitting here measuring. But and now we're starting to work for our living here now. Yeah, putting some load on the stuff. Yeah, those things at the air. If anyone knows how to get rid of that, this ones don't have the problem. I think it must be the setting. If I adjust the setting, maybe the delta between the two, the chambers of the settings are too far off and it's putting too much load on the system or something. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if I'm in the mood to sit there and play with phase change chambers for another week. They basically work more or less, so I can move on to other things. Probably come back to it at some point and fine tune that cooling system. And that looks cold enough. It's down to 26, good enough. I'll throw it in here like we're trying to get something done here. Yeah, so we're getting close to the end of the episode. I'm just going to go through here, and it's been like an hour and 15 minutes of recording. And I'm going to go ahead and swap out my tanks, get everything ready to go for the next episode, so we'll be all fresh and ready to go. Cool. So basically, next episode, I'll get back to working on the water cooling system. I'll let the cooling volatiles and sell it as it cools. That's sort of a background thread, so it'll take a while to do all that. So that gives me some cash. It gives me a lot more H2O. So we definitely have lots of water and plenty of time to get our system back online. So yeah, definitely next episode will be I'll have some chip going in there, and we'll fire up and start getting the system running, and hopefully have at least some hot water, and maybe you can cool it down in time by the end of the next episode. And that's really the big thing holding us back right now. Once we can start generating large quantities of water, I think as we expand the hydroponics, that'll give us a lot more O2 generation ability. Just checking out what's going on here and turn all this on and buy some more water. Okay, let's do the math. We can buy 18, 20. Yeah. Probably smart just to sell all the volatiles first, and then once I have all the volatiles sold off, then bother with the water since I don't need it now. But oh well. And see, we have a lot of gas in here. it's coming down. It's like, you know, 10th every couple seconds. And I think if I adjust the AC system, it'll speed up the cooling a bit. You know, take the cooling line a little bit higher. So we'll be selling a lot of gas. Cool. So we're just going to enter the airlock, open the door, and end it there. Until next time, see ya.